Saying that XXXTentacion is still alive sounds crazy, but new evidence and videos have surfaced claiming X was spotted alive in Minneapolis. Make sure to watch the entire video because you won't want to miss this.
Do you want to win any of these items on your screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right into the video.
Lack of evidence.
Two men approach XXX's car with masks and hoodies. It's possibly a robbery.
One of the more compelling aspects of various conspiracy theories about X being alive is of the evidence, or lack thereof, that came forward after pictures and reports were issued. This all came from a Twitter handle named Vass and Vane, who made a post not too long after the passing of X, stating that a lot of evidence presented at the crime scene didn't add up to the accounts made by the sheriff's department and other official sources. Another conspiracy nut? Maybe, but much like a lot of good conspiracy theorists, he makes a lot of sense when you hear how he breaks it all down. Here's what Vass and Vane had to say about the passing of X and why there's evidence that he may be alive still. His passing. In reports, it said his Louis bag was stolen from his car. In the video of his pulse being checked, there's absolutely no evidence of violence. No shattered glass, no holes. His face is in pristine condition. If he was run up on, wouldn't his car have been damaged? Wouldn't he have had face injuries? And to go out of the way he did should have portrayed a more violent outcome than what actually showed. It's really suspicious. In the videos, he's completely clean even on his clothing, which was very light colored. Next, the Louis bag was stolen, and X wore jewelry often. No reports of jewelry being stolen were made. Why would you rob someone, do serious harm to them, steal their Louis bag, but leave their jewelry? Especially from a notorious rapper. Finally, someone pointed out the fact that his tattoos are missing. The videos of his body are low quality, and I'm not sure I believe it, but it seems very clearly his forehead tattoo is missing. He has a very prominent prong-shaped tattoo on his forehead, which is missing, which brings the option of the man in the car being a double. Again, I'm not sure I believe it, but I also don't believe he passed away. See? Told you this guy was more than he appeared. That's some pretty compelling evidence, and they even show the picture of X in the car, and sure enough, the head tattoo isn't there. If we're being objective, there are logical explanations to these questions and queries, but that doesn't mean that they can be dismissed quickly. It just means that we have to think about what might have happened and where that leads us in regards to X possibly being alive or not. But regardless of what the truth is, this thread got a lot of attention around the world, and it turned many into believers that X is still alive, which goes to prove many things, including the impact of his passing, the desire for those who still want him to be alive, and how logical this guy's notions were about his passing. Tupac.
I'm looking online and people's like, yo, XXX was the Tupac of our generation. Like, you know.
Tupac's death is still something talked about to this day, and it's still wondered about in regards to what really happened both before and after the incident that took his life. The reason I'm bringing up Tupac is that much of the situation sounds very similar to how he passed on and the conspiracy theories about why he's still alive and where he is. The parallels at points are very uncanny, so why not see how much they connect? Tupac was without a doubt one of the biggest rappers in the world during the 90s. His music was legendary. It inspired many generations of rappers to this day, and he is constantly called one of the GOATs of the genre. But then one night in Las Vegas, he was taken away in a drive-by, and that's when things got weird. He, like X, wasn't lost at the scene but passed afterwards. Both of their bodies weren't shown to the public in certain ways. The funeral of Tupac was closed casket at the request of his friends and family, and the funeral was supposed to be a big event but got cancelled last minute, limiting those who saw the casket and thus Tupac. Rather convenient, don't you think? The point I'm trying to make here is that all of these circumstances had led to the long-standing rumor that Tupac is alive, and some feel he's in Jamaica or Haiti right now, chilling because he was tired of all the heat he had gotten on himself during his time in the United States. The music he made, his interactions with the police, the inspiration he was giving to others, it put a lot of pressure and spotlight on him, and some think he cracked, so he passed on so he could move on, which is similar to the status of X before his own passing. He again was very controversial, and if you need to get away from the country, why not follow one of the rap's idols and pull a fake passing? Weirder things have happened in this life, I assure you. And if it did actually happen to Tupac, he came out clean, and people are still talking about him to this day, although the people who caused the passing of X have been caught, and so that is a very key difference, but it's a small one in the grand narrative of it all. I know what you're thinking. Okay, comparing X to Tupac, that's a stretch and you know it. It may be a little bit of a stretch, and also like court of law, once the precedent is set, you need supporting evidence, which brings us to a rather curious part about X's passing. For those who don't know,
musical influences were Nirvana, The Fray, obviously the typical Tupac and Biggie.
Let me quickly recap X's life. Born in Plantation, Florida, X spent most of his childhood in Lauderdale. He began writing music after being released from a juvenile detention center. He started his music career on SoundCloud in 2013, where he soon became a popular figure in SoundCloud rap, a trap scene that takes elements of lo-fi music and harsh 808s. X rose to mainstream fame with the single Look at Me. His debut album 17 debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, and his second album Question Mark debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. Both albums have been certified platinum by the Recording Recording Industry Association of America. In the week following his death, X's highest charting single, Sad, went from number 52 to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, making him the first artist to top the Billboard Hot 100 posthumously since 1997. X's influences included Kurt Cobain, who he cited as his biggest inspiration, The Weeknd, Tupac Shakur, Cage the Elephant, The Fray, Papa Roach, 3 Days Grace, Hoobastank, Chingy, Gorillaz, and Coldplay. When speaking on his influences, Onfroy said, "I'm really into multi-genre things that aren't just based around rapping itself. I'm more inspired by artists in other genres besides rap." Onfroy as an artist has been defined as versatile, and his music has been described as having a lo-fi aesthetic, being diverse and experimental, drawing influence from heavy metal. His music also has the tendency to contain distorted bass and an intentional lack of polish. Despite his rather atypical stylings and feel, X had a very dedicated following, and he was setting his own trademark in the industry for having songs shorter than the norm, but still impactful in his own right. However, he did have numerous brushes with the law, which added to his infamy, but somewhat ironically, it was a very random incident that led to his passing. The incident.
The other way around? Of course you can. You said no, you're the hero. The news hurts to hear, bro. Praying for your family.
It's important to have certain facts before diving into the various conspiracies surrounding X and his resurrection, specifically the details around his passing during a robbery gone wrong. If you don't know all the details, I got your back. The event itself happened in June 2018 when X was out and about in Florida near where he lived. He went to a motorcycle shop and came out of the dealership in a BMW when he was suddenly followed by a dark SUV. This was just the beginning of the events we all know the result of. Though the police and an ambulance made it to him, he passed away in the hospital hours later. The following statement was given about the loss of XXXTentacion. On June 18, 2018, Jose Onfroy, known worldwide as XXXTentacion, tragically passed away in Deerfield, Florida. The statement begins, "In deference of his family, friends, and loved ones, and in light of further investigation, we ask that their privacy is respected at this time. XXXTentacion touched the lives of millions around the globe and will forever reside in the hearts of countless fans who listened to his music, attended his concerts, and felt the glow of his uncontainable, undeniable, and unique spirit." Many mourned the loss of X, and some were even crushed by the event, not wanting to believe that this had actually happened. Many flocked to his music, bringing him arguably more success than ever when he was alive. In the rap community, many posted social media messages of peace and love and good wishes to X in the next life, as well as to his remaining family. It's what happened next that really got people talking, because not long after his passing is when the rumors of X being alive started popping up in a large variety of ways, including sightings from the past that could have influenced this. Reasons for being gone.
Apologized to women he disrespected, as he put it, and he donated $100,000 to domestic violence prevention programs.
One of the biggest questions that needs to be asked about X if he did fake his passing is why, and what did he gain from doing all of this? First and foremost, it is true that X might have been popular in the rap game, but he hardly was world famous in the way that Drake, Kanye West, Eminem, and others are. In fact, his fan base actually grew after his passing, and if you look at his sales, they were leagues above what he had before. But more importantly, X was one of the most controversial rappers of the young generation of the genre, and not just because of his lyrics, though those did indeed help him get that label. Rather, he has had some very unfortunate choices as to how to handle certain problems or issues in his life, the biggest being with his longtime girlfriend Geneva Ayala, and the two had a very complex relationship. But by complex, I honestly mean mistreating and other factors. And though X often tried to win her back, including singing about her in his songs before he passed, it was never enough. Don't believe me that he was doing her wrong? Well, before he passed, she filed a lawsuit against him, stating that he not only mistreated her, but did other very horrible things to her. So why does this matter? Can you prosecute someone who isn't alive? Exactly. With him being gone, all of his cases would be closed, and in fact, that's exactly what happened. You can't prosecute or judge someone who has already passed, more or less, so faking his death would give him a bit of peace in terms of legal freedom, as well as taking a lot of pressure off of himself and let him be free in his own way. Believe it or not, people have faked death before to try and get out of things like this, so X going to that length honestly wouldn't be too much of a stretch if he felt he could pull it off. As if all of this was not enough, he technically predicted his own passing, predicting the future.
I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy.
Death is a very curious thing in our world. Some people will never see it coming, and others honestly feel that they know exactly when it's coming. Before his passing, X went to Instagram and made a message that has given a lot of people chills since then. If worst things comes to worst and I'm not able to see out my dreams, I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive and to at least have a good life, he said in the clip. If I'm going to pass or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy. happy, or they found some sort of answers or resolve in my life regardless of the bad things people say to me. That's most definitely an interesting set of statements, right? Almost like he felt the end coming. And that brings us to something his attorney said not long after the incident. He noted that he actually asked the rapper to beef up his security. We talked about him needing security, that he was past the point of being a kid making melodies on a street corner. So he felt he was going to pass on soon in some aspect, and he denied extra security, which was all the hallmarks of a setup, or at least it would in the eyes of conspiracy theorists. It's possible that he really didn't feel the need for extra security, that he wasn't worthy of being a target for anyone, or maybe he was just waiting for death to come to him, or maybe something else went on and he didn't want security that wasn't in the know. It's hard to say, but there are a lot of strange coincidences that can't be ignored, as well as one stunt that still needs to be taken into consideration. Why believe such conspiracies?
This stuff. Obviously, he was awaiting trial for domestic violence, and it's a shame that justice isn't going to be served for him or the woman.
While it's fair to admit that some of these theories about the fake passing of X are compelling and even logical to an extent, it's evident that he's gone and not coming back. So why would anyone truly latch onto these thoughts and statements? Why do we try and believe something that we know just isn't true? What are we doing that is causing all this to come forward and to look for the smallest thing to say that it's not real? The answer is grief, and it happens to all of us. It's sometimes easier to think that some people are still out there even when they're not. In the wake of X's passing, many people were hoping for a reason to believe it wasn't real, and when these thoughts and ideas came about, they were enticing. Sure, some of the aspects of his passing are sus, and certain things don't add up, but that doesn't mean he's still out there waiting for something or hiding from something. It just means there's a mystery that hasn't been solved yet. Will that mystery ever be solved? It's honestly hard to say, and it's possible that like other mysteries involving rappers and their passings, that this will be one that is never solved. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a deeper conspiracy here, far from it. It just means that there are some odd loose ends that haven't been picked up as of yet. Sometimes life is like that. It's hard to admit that someone you liked or cared for is gone, but holding on to hopes and any theories that are out there is not helpful in the slightest. It's been nearly 2 years now since his passing. You need to take a step forward in order to move on. And there you have it, a look at the passing of XXXTentacion and the theories and ideas about how he might still be alive. Do you think these people are crazy for thinking such things, or do you understand their grief? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe. I'm King Trending, and I'll see you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.